It's another political show, and this evening we're discussing the coup in Madagascar as Colonel Michael Randrianirina, head of the military elite group, CAPSAT, has led a coup that ousted President Rajoelina of Madagascar. And with us to discuss the ramifications, implications, and the aftermath is Mustafa Jinadu, Kule Williams, and Warifa Marcos. I'm still Afolabi. Welcome to another political show.
So, so basically, both of them names
Thank
starts
you.
with Randrianirina, and what's the other one? Radria.
Rajoelina.
And what's the name of the president?
The president is Rajoelina. The colonel is Randrianirina.
Oh,
Randrianirina.
Wow.
okay. I'm going to just call them by their pronouns. I'll call them by their pronouns. So this military guy, I'm going to give a guarded statement. He's sort of a hero because the president sent the soldiers to step out on the students. The students are fighting and protesting. They call themselves Gen Z. I hope they read Buko, that they're not just Gen Z without a purpose. But they set out, and they said no electricity, no water. So this guy sends the military out, but the military joins them. So the general who started this coup, he said he did it because he was invited by the legislators, which I believe is
Masses. Okay.
yeah, and not only the masses, the legislators invited him because the president fled, but he already mastered this coup before they invited him. You know, but it's not really a coup. What he did was he refused to turn arms against his people. He refused to fight them. So he turned around and said, "No, this is too much." And then when the president, and also the president was going to be impeached anyway. After the president was impeached, we saw there's no confidence in him. The military said, no, we're not going to stand for the president. Because it's clear that the president has also fallen out of favor with whoever's in their Congress or their legislative groups. So this president is done. And that's why the military stepped. And the military has to be a placeholder until they get their act together and find a democratically elected leader, which will be anywhere from 19 months to 2 years. So I want to give kudos to this guy and say, so far, it looks like you're doing the right thing. We don't want you to become a tyrant. And after 2 years, you say you don't want to step down and do fair elections. But the country is in a crisis. No electricity, no water. Even if you have money, no food available. And I want to say a shout out to the Gen Z and Madagascar.
Madagascar.
People in Nigeria and South Africa need to take a look at what you young people did. That's what we should be doing in Nigeria. If we did that for up to 2 weeks, the government will listen and say, okay, we have to make a change. What are your thoughts, Kunle
Yes,
Williams?
it's quite scary if you're part of the old guard in Madagascar, seeing all these institutions being taken over by basically Gen Z uniting with the army, which made it unstoppable. There are several reasons why I don't foresee Nigeria being able to do something so similar. Primary reason being that um, I don't really trust our military, and they can sometimes become disattached with the rest of us.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Okay, so let's get back to
I
these
don't
guys.
trust.
Yeah, yeah.
So getting back to Madagascar, it is something that hasn't been seen before, and I do know countries in Africa. So it is quite alarming that this has happened. It's a popular movement. It's not like your typical African banana republic coup. And it's the first time I've seen something like this in Africa. So it's exciting to see this sort of new developments. And I hope that it becomes
Yeah.
endemic,
It's similar to the
epidemic.
Sahel though. It's similar to the Sahel though, in that even though the people in the Sahel didn't revolt, when the military took over, the citizens also supported it, and the citizens in Madagascar support this coup the same way they supported it in Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger. But the only difference is that this one was started by the citizens. The one in Burkina Faso, Nigeria, and was started by the military. But there was a revolt by the people first. So there's some similarities. Wouldn't you agree, Kunle, in that it's a popular coup? It's popular. Yeah.
Yes, yes. It's a popular movement coup. In both situations, the populations of these countries were in a celebratory mood, and they seem to have removed what was oppressive and corrupt government. And they do seem like they had felt they had taken control of their own destinies. This isn't really something that happens a lot in Africa. It's happened all over the Sahel. It seems to be happening in a slightly different way in Madagascar. Um, what makes this exciting is the fact that young people have been able to come to the fore and show their power.
And also the
That's
military.
becoming,
Yeah.
yes, yes, that's
We want to
becoming more less and less of a thing. Where we've always said Gen Z, they're a bunch of soft people that can't do this and the other, but for them to actually do something like that shows their power, and it will motivate students in Nigeria and in all these other countries to try to emulate their counterparts in Madagascar.
And you know, another difference is that Madagascar is a small island. So when you're a soldier in the Madagascar army, some of the people you're going to be shooting are people you see every day. You buy bread from them. You do everything. It's a small town. It'll be like saying that, let's say Ibadan was a country by itself. When I want to tell the military in Ibadan, start attacking people, you're going to start shooting your cousins, your friends, everything. Nigeria is a big country with different tribal groups and different states, but Madagascar is very small and together. And there's no way these soldiers were not ready to start killing students the way that they do in Kenya. You know,
Yeah,
Kenya,
not
Ruto.
only not only that, not
Yeah,
only that, but in Nigeria, we have a federal system. So some of the soldiers and police in a particular state can be completely removed from the locals
yeah,
in that area, unlike Madagascar, where, as you say, these soldiers, their wives and children are from the same area. They're probably
yeah.
living around the same place. You're not going to shoot your colleague's son, who's a
Yeah.
student that's protesting. So it's much more. It was because of that reason
And
more easy
how
for
much
them.
you want to bet also that the soldiers weren't getting paid either? Because this guy sounds like he was a louse. No water, no electricity, no nothing. So the whole country is in a mess. So they knew this guy had to go. And even the people who are in legislation now are welcoming this. Of course, the US is saying we're gravely concerned about Madagascar overriding their constitution. Fuck, you guys are Trump is sending soldiers to Chicago, so he should shut up. What are your thoughts, what are your thoughts, Mr. Warif?
Well, politics is somehow a funny game. Now, for these soldiers to take to overthrow the president, that means they are fed up with the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because if those young guys call out for this and they are not fed up, they wouldn't have gone far to overthrow the government. You see, African leaders, they don't care. Most African countries, the so-called presidents or this elected president, they don't care. They want to remain in office for long. Now, a body, whenever a coup takes place, you see African Union, ECOWAS, and so on and so forth. They'll be coming to condemn the coup. But they won't call these African leaders to order, to put things in order, to do the right thing, make sure the citizens are not suffering. But instead, they'll be working for themselves, decamping from one party to another party, just like in Nigeria. Enugu State governor has gone to APC. Bayelsa State governor has resigned about going to APC. Now, these are corruption, because if you don't decamp, they might come after you. So I think it's high time the organization, world organization, start correcting this, what's it called, the president, to avoid this coup. Because if a coup takes place and the citizens are in support of the coup, that means they are fed up. They are fed up with the president. If they are not fed up with the president, they will not be in support of the coup. So I think African leaders, they need to try and do what they're supposed to do. They are not just there for themselves, but they are there for the citizens. And the military, they fight, what's it called? They fight terrorism and so on and so forth, but they are not well taken care of. I think Nigerian soldiers, they need to, I'm not calling for a coup in Nigeria, but they need to take a cue from these people. Let Nigerian president and Nigerian senators and other people, they should do better for the country. Now, when there is a military coup, you condemn the coup, but you won't condemn the president, civilian president, to do the right thing. So I think, for me, is a nice one. If the civilian president are not doing the right thing, the military, they should put, and again, whenever there is a military coup, some of these civilian president and senators, whatever, they flee the country. So when they flee the country, the military, they now take over and they want to organize things. But we hear people condemning the military, that the worst civilian government is better than the best military. To me, I don't believe that. Because some of these military people, some of these military personnel, these military officers, they are graduates. They are professionals in their field. Yeah, they are disciplined. They work on decree. They work on order. If you're not ready to work according to what they are, civilian president, they don't like politics, man. They like, because if there is a corruption, you're not doing well, they kick you out. So they don't like it. I think the World Organization, or where ECOWAS African Union, they need to do better than what they are doing, not just condemning military coup.
And one thing
They
I
should ask
appreciate,
themselves, why is this military coup taking place?
yeah. And one thing I appreciate about the leader of, about the general who did this, these guys didn't shoot one bullet or they didn't beat anybody. They were patient with the country. And what I also like about him, he didn't waste time. He said, "I'm here for 2 years." You know, a lot of people, maybe if he didn't say anything, then he'll say,
make your objective clear.
I'll let you know. But it's very brave for him to say, "I'm here for 2 years," because people may get angry. People may get angry and say,
straight up.
No, but he said it because if he had bad intentions, he'll be like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna do a transition." Then after 6 months, wait. Then after 8 months. But he said 19 months to 2 years. That means he's talking because they need that much time, and they've had a coup before. So this is a problem in Madagascar now with corruption, and they had a coup before and another coup. So to me, they need to take their time. And if I were them, also they need to reframe their constitution and make sure that they become a socialist country, and they need to figure out what to do with their resources. I think they have biodiversity. They don't have a lot of resources, but they have like a lot of plant and wildlife things that can be used for pharmacology and things like that. So we need to do more research and find out what the U.S.'s angle is. So far, it doesn't seem like the U.S. is heavily exploiting
vanilla. I think they're
vanilla. Yeah, they have vanilla, and they have like a lot of diverse plants and things. So vanilla. You're right. Vanilla is correct. I saw it earlier on Google AI. Afolabi is like, what am I here for today? Talk Afolabi, what's going on, man?
Yeah, so I first of all, I agree with you by saying that because it's a small country and the population is very small, it's easier for the military elite group that's led by the colonel to align with the populist movement, Gen Z Madagascar, against the government of the president. And also, Warif saying that most of this ECOWAS, African Union, OAU, they were all set up by the West to control the Commonwealth of Africa. And this is fast becoming a template. This military takeover thing is fast becoming a template to check the excesses of corrupt African leaders. And there's growing popularity because most of the time when it happens, the general populace will support, the military against the corrupt democratic regime. And we're seeing another template being played out in Madagascar. And all things being equal, I think I like the president. He's been very categorical, very articulate. I'm here for 2 years. I'm here to fix things. Things have to improve because there's socio-economical frustration. There's no electricity. There are water shortages. There's inflation and unemployment. And more than that, they said that the president is a despot. They said there's a corruption everywhere, and they don't see him as a legitimate president because of all the promises that have been unfulfilled and his authoritarian tendencies. So I feel it's a step in the right direction. It had to be addressed. Whatever African Union is saying, because African Union says they suspended Madagascar on constitutional orders.
They don't care.
African Union is a puppet of the West. Nobody cares about that.
Yes. And here's the problem. Yeah. They have textiles, they have vanilla, and it's rumored that they have oil and gas. They have a lot of things. So the U.S. wants the country to be stable, but they don't want there to be an authoritarian or socialist or military rule.
Yes,
because they want to have somebody in there who they can use to control. But it seems like the people that come in there are so greedy that they make the country unstable even for the U.S. So the U.S. and this is the problem the U.S. has. Whenever they want resources from a country, what they want to do is to make it unstable. But by making it unstable, it makes it less likely you can control their resources. Whereas Russia and China, they promote stability around the world and they enter trade. So the U.S. isn't a problem because the U.S. only knows how to deal instability. But it's not going to work on Madagascar because Madagascar is isolated. So they can't keep it. Because in places like Congo and Rwanda, if there's instability, it doesn't matter because the U.S. can send in their companies and just take the resources. But they can't send in people. If they come into Madagascar, people will be like, who are you sending to our country? But if Madagascar was within Africa, they'll pay Rwanda to attack Madagascar and say, see, now we have to come in. You understand? So that's a good thing that Madagascar is isolated, because if it was on land now, they'll be using their neighbors to fight them. So Madagascar is a complex country. So what we pray is that their military and their constitution, but they need to figure out Madagascar's main problem is not the U.S., it's corruption. Leaders come in and they get corrupt.
African leaders.
Yeah. And if I were the U.S., I would tell the leader, don't be too corrupt, because if you're too corrupt, there'll be a coup and the military will come in and we can't exploit you. The reason is like chess.
But,
the U.S. needs to. Same thing with Tinubu. If Tinubu becomes too corrupt, then Nigeria will uprise and the U.S. won't be able to do anything about it. So we want to just keep our eye on what's going on and hope for the best. What are your thoughts, Kunle?
Yeah, the Nigerian people politicians should be afraid of the happenings in Madagascar, because if what's happened in Nigeria, the Nigerian people will tear them apart like warm agege bread. And it'll be
bread.
Yeah.
Cooling in America is called cotton candy. Cooling in America is cotton candy. When they blow sugar up,
it's cotton candy. But so they do need to take a look into what's going on. But knowing this our government, they're so busy with their noses in the trough. I doubt hardly any of them have taken any notice whatsoever. Although I'm interested to see that this is a diversion to say that we were planning to change our INEC chairman and all of that, but I don't know where that's going. But coming back to Madagascar, we do need to take a leaf from it, all these other African countries. And they will do a lot for our people if, the people that gave us, I like to move it, are able to take the lead. Yes. And in changing things, it would be a very exciting new dawn for Africa.
Hey, Kule, have you noticed now that in places like Madagascar, even New Zealand, where those people were in parliament, the local people now are beginning to rise up in these small island nations? You get my point? This is even Haiti with they can't beat those gangsters. Those gangsters are really actually Robin Hood liberation people. They steal, but they bring back the people. So this is a good thing.
It's a grassroots wind of change happening in Africa. People are beginning to become fed up of misrule, and they're now wanting, the people who are trying to progress the country further are being listened to, and the students who want a better future are being taken more seriously. And once you have a strong student base that's supported in the country, then your country can go nowhere but up. It can only get better.
Yeah, thank you. Very good one. So, what are your last thoughts, Mr. Warif?
What I'll say is this: the world powers like African Union, ECOWAS, and so on and so forth, they should call the civilian elected president to order. They should do the right thing, not when the military takes over, they begin to condemn. I'm not in support of that. And again, they shouldn't wait for the military to take over before the right thing is done. So they should learn how to carry everybody along, listen to the masses. That's why they are there. They are not there for themselves, but they are there for the masses. So they should do the right thing. And Nigerian military, they should act as politicians. They are not politicians. They are military guys with uniform, camouflage, and so on, and they are with arms. So they should respect their office. They should be working, defending politicians. So when they are doing the right thing, they should know what to do.
Yeah, I agree. I think the U.S. military needs to do a coup too, because their leaders are getting out of control. Afabi, is it Marjorie Taylor Greene is like the military guy? She standing up for the people. Story. All right, Afolabi, take us out with any last thoughts. What are your last thoughts, Afolabi?
I just want the military, the colonel, and his regime to be as transparent as possible. I don't want him to be in a hurry to carry out any elections. I want him to fix the system, flush out a lot of bad eggs from the system, and not because most of these military regimes, at the end of the day, when they replace these civilians, they become puppets of the West too. So I don't want him to do that. I want him to use the Burkina Faso template to run Madagascar so that at least they can see some level of transparency. And over the period of time, they can see that there's growth in the country and there's development. And a lot of what was being complained about has, basically been flushed out of the system. If they can do that, then maybe some of these military regimes and templates can have some semblance of, respect and credibility.
His name is not Colonel. His name is Michael Randrianirina. Randrianirina.
It sounds like an Indian name.
Yeah, they have Indian and Malaysian and Indian mixture of those guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So maybe they after a while they can also qualify for World Cup too if they can swim with their money.
Just like Cape Verde.
Shout out to Cape Verde.
Yeah, just like Cape Verde.
Yeah.
All right, this was an excellent show. So take us out, Kunle.
Yeah, so you've looked at the important changes in Madagascar, which has seen the 3 Ps: progressive, popular, and powerful. And as we look into the future of Madagascar and what it means for the rest of Africa as we move forward, from myself, Mustafa, Warif, and Avalabi, we bid you farewell, adieu. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.
Okay, nice one, guys.
Good
night. Good night. Tomorrow, sometime in the evening, we'll do the group. Look at Nigeria and South Africa for groups in the Nations Cup. They've done the group.
AFCON.
Okay, thanks. Okay, good one.
All right.